Hey everybody, John Brown here, or if you watch me on Board Game Geek, be sure to check out my YouTube channel, Stormageddon42. You'll probably have to put in, yes, I mean Stormageddon42 with no spaces if you search for it. But anyways, today I decided to do a little something different. Instead of a full review of a board game where I try to quickly show how it's played and such, I want to do a quick first impressions video of Terra Mystica. I wrote a little sessions report and I figured I'd do a little video. So why am I changing it up? There's a lot of great videos on Terra Mystica. MeWe does a run through, Grey Elephant does a great rules explanation and run through, Rahdo does a run through. So if you want to see how the game is played, there's a lot of options, but if you're looking for other opinions on it, I thought I'd give just my first impressions a try. And also not a full review because I've only played the game once. So why am I choosing to do a video? Well, this is a game that probably has been more anticipated to play than any other from me. I've been hearing about how great this game is for ages. I thought about getting it, but obviously couldn't because the massive amount of pre-orders finally got reprinted and I finally got a chance to play it. And does it live up to the hype? So, you've probably seen and heard about Terra Mystica, and here's the board, and the cold track, and the player board, and many of the things that make Terra Mystica great. As we have our buildings, filling up these and taking them off, and then seeing what we get, but then as we upgrade our buildings coming back on, and so on and so forth, and balancing our special powers, balancing how well and efficiently we can do things, balancing our power and our economy, losing something every time we gain something with a new building. Well, all of that seemed pretty interesting, and all the while balancing the cult track. But what makes Terra Mystica great? Well, in addition to that, things I was expecting, changing up the bonuses for each round adds to variability, and I think makes the game more interesting. One of the things I was looking forward to. Oh, another thing that makes Terra Mystica great, changing up not only in each game, but in general, what bonuses you're going to take for the round and things like that. And then, of course, we've got the favor tiles we can do all kinds of things with depending on what we choose. And of course we've got, what do we found a town and things like that. What else makes Terra Mystica great? Well, 14 different factions. So I knew going into it there's going to be a lot of variability, but how would it actually work? Would it really be as fun and as I was hoping it would be? But one of the things that Terra Mystica may be lacking in is potentially theme. At least that's something that I was potentially worried about. I'm going to compare Terra Mystica to Eclipse a little bit because Eclipse is one of my favorite games. And well, one thing that's neat about Eclipse is the different factions or races or whatever, and this game certainly has that. In Eclipse, though, they just seem to feel a little bit more different. The science race feels like the science race. The race that spreads out feels like the race that spreads out. And this game certainly has that, but I don't know why. In what I watch and in playing it the first time, it just didn't quite feel as varied and as thematic as it does in Eclipse. And of course, you don't have shipbuilding, things like that. Some of my favorite things in Eclipse. I mean, this is not a 4X game, but the decisions you make as you go along, in Eclipse you're basically taking stuff off your board and you're getting more production, and it's usually pretty obvious what you want to do or not do. Maybe taking a sector for a turn to get a bonus, but then purposely going over your money so you'd lose it. You can take it back at the end of the sector and not hold it after you get the bonus, things like that. This game, every single decision matters. What am I going to do with that priest? Am I going to move up on here? Am I going to use it here? What am I going to do with all of my resources when I expand and build more? I'm hurting myself in other ways. Every one of those management decisions is really important. How much am I going to focus on, the bonuses? How much am I going to focus on the endgame bonus? And I have to say, from the first time I played it, we had a 5-player game, and in general there seemed to be about 4 different strategies, 2 focusing on endgame scoring for the largest indirectly adjacent places, 1 focusing a lot on the Colts favor tiles or whatever it is, and getting a little bit ahead on the track. Another person got ahead on the track and managed to found 2 towns and almost put them together. And one thing happened to me is I got blocked off right in this corner early in the game. I guess it was stupid of me to go there, and so basically I had one area out of the 2 that couldn't expand at all. I was hoping to make 2 towns. That wasn't going to happen, and I threw away endgame scoring and just tried to score quickly. The tile came out that allowed me to score 2 points for terraforming. Well, I'd upgraded my terraforming earlier to the highest level, was able to do 3 terraforms, so for 6 workers gained 12 bonus points. I was playing here as the cultist, so I was able to get 7 points for getting this building out. I built it on the turn where I got a 5-point bonus as well, so my stronghold got me a ton of points. And I just tried to do a quick points grab, and basically at the end of the game I think I scored, maybe a point. I think I tied for third in a cult or something like that, and that was it. But somehow, surprisingly, actually managed to win the game. Well, interestingly enough, I was actually a little annoyed at first when I realized I won the game. I mean, I had jumped out to a lead because of the strategy I was using, but I didn't consider it much of a strategy. I just was like, oh, I can't really do what I want to do, so let's just grab points as quick as I can. But then it dawned on me, I was like, well, maybe that's not a bad thing, that endgame scoring isn't entirely dominant, that you don't have to focus on it if you don't want, and I think that's what makes Terra Mystica so interesting. There are so many choices. None of them are necessarily bad, but they can leave you in a bad position to do what you want to do later. So you have to have a plan, think multiple turns ahead, how one thing's going to affect another, how much you're going to go after each potential point-scoring thing. At first it seemed like there wasn't a lot of opportunities to score points at first, at least when I was thinking about it, but there really are, and it's not just endgame scoring, but what do you go after and what do you leave behind, because you can't go after everything or else you won't do other things as efficiently. You can't just build the biggest buildings, then you won't have any workers. There's so much to it, and in the end it actually all seemed pretty balanced. It was a pretty tight game, and I like that not necessarily focusing on endgame scoring worked in my first playthrough. Now the thing is, if I was playing experienced players, I probably would have gotten crushed if another player had connected their two cities that they built. They would have had the largest area, and they would have won the game for that scoring as well. But do I like it as much as Eclipse? I think Eclipse is currently ranked as my number 2 game. Now I don't know. That's one playthrough. This isn't meant to be a full review, but as a first impression I want to let people know, if it's something that they've been hearing about and debating on getting. If if you're more a straight up theme, if you're more, this game doesn't quite have it, but I mean it certainly does have variability, and the variability of the races do matter. Maybe the races don't feel as thematic as they do in some other games, but they make all of your decisions very important, and that's what's most intriguing about this game, is the decisions and how they balance up everything you're doing, what everyone else is doing, what you're going for, what they're going for. And I think it's pretty well received by everybody. And is this game the holy grail of gaming, as it seems to be to so many people? I'm not sure. I don't want to say that after one playthrough, but I do want to say I'm really intrigued, and figured I'd just throw my opinion out there. I might do a full review of this if my opinion changes. But as for right now, I don't know if this game's going to end up in my top 10 or not, if it's going to end up one of my top games or not. It's not going to replace El Grande. I haven't found that game yet. It's my number 1 game. But it's certainly interesting, and as a first impression, I don't know. I think this game might have just lived up to the hype, and maybe it will for you too, if those sort of decisions are what interests you in a game, or at least one of the things that potentially interests you in a game. So thanks a lot for watching. We'll talk to you guys later. Alright, bye. And I almost forgot to mention when I mentioned some of the other videos about this game, if you want to see maybe one of the most amusing board game reviews I've ever seen, make sure to go and check out Shut Up and Sit Down's review of Terra Mystica, so you can see where the magic happens. Those guys are really great, and that video is probably the thing that helped convince me to get it, so I appreciate that a lot, guys. Keep up the good work. Alright, thanks, bye.